Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. Hey guys, Bix Weir, Jenny Moonstone, coming you from the silver bunkers. We got our daggers out. We're ready to take down some criminal banksters. We're ready to take down some evil demon spirits. We just had the snow moon, which is the first new moon in February. The snow moon just came and went. Silver has been up every day since. We are so close. Jenny Moonstone, how are you?
I'm great. You guys, check this thing out. This is some sophisticated psi weaponry.
Do you have your initials in there?
Yes, I do. JM, so it's my alias. It's better than my government name. It's my alias. And good. my moonstone, my signature moonstone at the top right there. I mean, I'm telling you guys, this is like, I encourage, what's that?
She sleeps with it.
I do. I mean, what can I say? So lots of silver stuff going on, lots of stuff going on everywhere.
We're gonna let's get into it. Let's just get into it. First thing I want to talk about, I talked about in this morning's Horn of Z's news, is the Canadian banks went down last night. Now, banking runs are hysterical because it is literally the government shooting the bank in the foot. You know, whether or not Trudeau is working for the good guys or bad guys, I don't know. He might be forced to be saying what he's saying.
Yes.
What it did by passing a law that says the government can go in, take your bank account, take your 401k, take your brokerage account, shut off every one of your credit cards. And they plan on doing it, supposedly. What does that tell people in the freedom side to do? It tells them to go in, get their money out of the bank, which is the worst thing that could happen to the government and the banksters. I believe that's why one of the reasons we had this huge, I think it was 6 of the largest banks in Canada, nobody was able to access their funds for the last 12 hours. I think it's up and running again, but definitely a hiccup. Definitely on the private road timeline thing. Let's start with that.
Were we on target?
Oh, absolutely. In February, I said internet/banking issues in February. So I was afraid, I wasn't seeing it happening. Will this grow into something bigger? There's my first question for the young Jenny Moonstone.
Okay. Old as dirt.
Or is it just Canada? Will it grow into something in the US and worldwide ultimately?
I want to do two. I want to do the current state of things, and then where this appears to be going. King of Pentacles. All right, so that's also going to be your truckers, your average everyday workers, the person that makes the infrastructure go, okay? Digging their heels in. This is all about assets and control. People are recognizing how much power they have. I even think that this temporary blip, like the runs, the bank runs, that's more than anything, it's indicative of how much power people needed to see. Boom, like, whoa, this is what happens when we pulse like that, they move like that. So people are learning about the interface between their action, what they choose to do with their assets, and what reality becomes for these empirical structures. So that's like really exciting. If nothing else, if this is just a temporary blip, like, or they find a way to stuff it for now, this is showing people what they're capable of. So let's take a look at where this is going. Nine of Cups. Oh, that's a great card. So it's actually very, like, it has a lot to do with people's emotional getting in on the fight in like different, in other ways. This, and also I will add, because visuals are really important in tarot. If you can take a look at this, see how the water is coming from the top, okay? And it hits every cup on the way down. All the cups are full, they're overflowing. This implies to me that this is these cups will continue to be full. We're running off of like energy stores that are, we're not going to run out. They're going to run out. That's what this implies to me, is like I'm not a trucker, but I identify on the freedom side of things. So that's really what I'm looking at, is what is this freedom convoy, this freedom movement, like where is it going to go? And it really just appears to have this ripple effect. When some people show strength, everybody shows strength. So it's awesome. So let's see how the US is going to follow suit. If, and we are, there's definitely a convoy coming.
And the DHS is definitely saying, oh, we're going to stop it. And I mean, that's the same thing that happened in Canada is happening here, slower.
Page of Pentacles. Okay. You see, this is the thinking man. He's sitting on the globe. He's looking over the horizon, the sunset, and you see the coins raining from the sky and coming up from the earth. And you can't see it, but it on the tombstone it says human, but they broke it down into 2 words. It says born 4/1/1902, died 11/22/1963. So just think it's funny if those dates mean anything to anybody watching. I don't know.
Well, 63 was when Kennedy was assassinated, and we went off the silver standard. But what was it born? What?
Born April 1st, 1902.
I'm gonna have to look that up as far as.
I mean,
and the coins, and I mean,
see?
well, on the road to Ruta, I do think we're going back to a gold and silver standard. I do think there's a difference between fiat money, meaning the money declared by the government, versus constitutional money, which is the coinage. The U.S. Mint, for example, is part of the U.S. government, has the ability to print the coins of the U.S. government. Federal Reserve does not. That's why they call them Federal Reserve notes. So if we do have a banking collapse, which I think is imminent, all the Federal Reserve notes will get locked up in the banks and be useless and worthless. All the coins minted by the United States of America, which is the real money of the United States, should be the money of the future. And I think that's where we're going. I don't know how fast we're going to get there, but a banking collapse can happen instantly.
Timelines are weird. Some aspects of the timeline are purely cyclic and there's no stopping them. No cabal, no technology, nothing. They're larger than life. They're bigger than we can even imagine. And then some cycles are far smaller, very sensitive to the individual free will and choice, right? That governing body. But I just want to say what this looks like to me is in terms of how the U.S. trucker convoy is going to look. There's some really good things, and I just want to emphasize this kind of top-down dynamic that I'm noticing. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I did not think it was going to be Canada. Like, I didn't think the Canadians had it in them. I'm sorry. Please don't take that the wrong way. I was wrong. You know, I didn't.
Well, the amazing thing is they put up with so much with their socialist government that I think they've been held down and suppressed for so long. It was easier for them, because they had very little freedom to start with, to bust out and say, fuck it, you know?
Well, and another thing too, like we have there's something like over 1 billion firearms in the US alone, just the continental US. So like most of us are happy to just sit here and wait for somebody to come and take it, right? That's our motto, come and take it. We're not gonna, because we're like, listen, you can push us real far, but we know the line. Like, someone's gonna get shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
they
who would
don't
do it?
have that luxury.
Oh, they don't. So the government controls them. Right now, they're just flexing their muscles with the banking system, their
Right.
access to their wealth. And I think it'll backfire. I mean, if I was a trucker or involved with the movement at all in Canada, I'd be getting absolutely everything out of the bank, out of your stock market, your bond market. Get your assets in your own possession. If there wasn't a time other than right now that is screaming assets in your own possession, I don't know when a different time would be.
I don't think I really don't either. Okay, so this is a separate thing, and we're going to get into that in 1 second. I have a couple things about how we're going to mirror this. My concern really is that for whatever reasons, we may be more like our convoy, maybe a little bit more susceptible to negotiations or some kind of deal. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we look at Canada, whatever they're doing, it doesn't look like they're really willing to negotiate at this point. There's something about what's going to happen here with the convoy that looks a little bit more, I shouldn't say a little bit more, significantly more exploitable. And there's some more spots of vulnerability, but that's like the shadow aspect. The really good aspect, like the alternative, well, it's not an alternative, it's an also, is that there's a lot of networking and communication, a lot of like proof of results through action. People are going to see, similar to Canada, what they're capable of. When they push, then these bodies do that. And it's kind of like the toddler that's learning, you know, the stove is hot, don't touch it again. Or wow, like I can lift this if I really try. If I exert this amount of effort, this will happen. You know, the swarm of the US population is learning what they're capable of doing in large groups. That was always an aspect of the Great Awakening. That was always going to happen. But I'm excited as F about this. It's just that, and I've been trying to get a read on February 22nd with you. I've been trying to get that to your subs for, I feel like, a month. And for whatever reason, I feel like I haven't gotten it. But I wanted to refer to a read that I did before. I don't think it was with you. I think it was with one of my friends. I really can't remember. All I do is tarot. Like every single night I'm on the phone with a friend, a family member, and we're just throwing cards. That's just all I do. But this one really struck me, and it had to do with agricultural infrastructure, not just the food, not just the actual agriculture. It was the infrastructure through which all of our supplies and food get to us. And there was going to be some kind of demolition or some kind of significant damage. What it looked like to me, honestly, was like the burning or torching of deliberately of farmland and or something pertaining to our agricultural infrastructure, that they were going to either place the blame on someone for it strategically, or they were going to just try to swing the narrative away from what actually happened. And what actually happened is that it was a controlled demolition, some kind of you know, we torched it, now we're going to claim insurance on it or some shit like that. You know what I mean? It looked very dicey.
Could it be, could a torching also be the infringement of an ice age into the heartland of America? That type of thing. So it's not a fire. I mean, we all know that they can control the weather.
Yeah.
But I mean, a fire would have to be a gigantic scale to have. Yeah. But also, you know, you're looking right now with the that bridgeway that connects us with Canada being locked up, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" You know, there's not food going either way. There's not parts going either way.
Well, and I did feel also that because there is a food shortage coming. If you haven't seen it already, there is.
Oh, by the way, all you private road members at the Road to Ruta, the very first thing on the page is the Cliff High 10-minute. After we did our discussion for the world, we did 10 minutes on what the bad guy's next plan is.
Yeah. And
he said it's starvation. They're going to try to starve us out. So if you haven't watched that, I mean, that's just in his data. He's like,
well, no, listen, Bix, that's in my data too.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes me sad, really, really sad. And it's what's the real tragedy of it is that we've got so much beautiful, like, farmable land in this country, and the induction of a food shortage is just such a slap in the face, because this truly is the land of milk and honey, and they're like, nope, no food for you. Nothing for you people.
There's some kind of new bird flu they're talking about also that could be part of it.
Well, that's exciting. So let me take a look at
so you think that around February 22nd, which is 0202 or 022220, which is a big day for Road to Ruta with the, what are those things called? Now I forgot the name of it.
Palindrome.
Palindrome. It's a palindrome day, and it's probably the most perfect palindrome day. Wait, no, it's 02222020. So it's not a palindrome.
No, it's 2022. Why do you keep saying it's 2020, Bix?
20. Wait, what am I? Yeah, 2022. So it's 02.
02222022.
But that's not a palindrome.
I guess not.
No, it's just a hell of a lot of twos.
You know what the hell's going on is this is the last time we saw Pluto. All right, for any of you astrology people out there, Pluto is in a specific placement on the 22nd of this month. The last time that it was in this is like Pluto conjunct Uranus. It was 1776, and we were seizing our freedom from the church and crown. So remember how all things are cyclic. What we're looking at is 1776 part 2, but in this case, it's literally the exact same astrological alignment. We haven't seen that since. And, you know, the influences of Pluto are unfortunately quite destructive, but what we know about creation is that there's this necessary destruction that has to supersede it. So let's take a look at 2022, February 22nd, y'all.
A lot of zeros, a lot of twos.
Also, that happens to be, so Trump is releasing or officially opening Truth Social around that same time. So there's a whole lot of narratives merging in one date. So this is just a good time. There's the Empress. Okay. So the Empress is Taurus energy, Earth energy, has a lot to do with the influence of like natural influences, I gotta say. Less synthetic, more natural. So we could actually be looking at the Earth herself participating in this, having a say. Let me see, what else do we have? We got a jumper. Page of Wands. Lots of movement, lots of running with the Page of Wands as well. So there's some kind of induced, like I see like an induced kind of panic. So there's a lot of motion, a lot of movement. So this is why I'm saying to you guys, like from me to you, before the flock gets spooked, go ahead and get what you need if you don't already have it. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, oh, like the world's gonna end. We've been through this, you know, this type of thing before. I want you guys to avoid the people, like the stores and the lines, and you know, your vaccinated and panicked neighbors and community members that are not acting like themselves because fear warps the mind. So go ahead and get ahead of the narrative and prepare yourself. But I have to say,
go ahead. Well, another thing that is on the table now is the Biden administration is really pushing for this false flag war with Russia. Biden came out today and said, "Oh, it's days away."
It's not, though. It's really not.
But what they can do if they claim it, they can use that as an excuse for all the other things we're looking at. For example, silver is on the brink right now. It's on the brink. It's never been more on the brink, and they can claim force majeure, which shuts down the market and voids all contracts.
I see. All under emergency orders.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's a definition of force majeure. One of the definitions is a declaration of war.
So, and I feel like there's an aspect of this is going to sound super weird, but like I was getting that there was something connected, something about like the Ukraine in particular. There was something about some kind of a transactional nature between the Ukraine and U.S. agriculture. I know that sounds really weird, but I think that there's something between them that is going to, it's like the combination of these two things creates this induced shortage. It's like they cut it off or something, but it's all going to be blamed on the fascist, bigoted, racist fringe minority convoy because the truckers don't want to get with the program. We're all going to starve to death type of vibe. Do you know what I mean?
There's
And
so many things. It's just so many.
There's a lot. There's just a trillion moving pieces. You know, and really my mindset with this is when I pull these cards, I'm just trying, you know, whatever information that you guys are supposed to hear from me, like I frame it with what's relevant to your listeners. Like, what do you guys have to hear about this? Because there's just too many different angles that we can come in on this.
So from what
I would just explode.
I take from what you just said was be prepared. I mean, we've always been prepared.
Yeah.
We got our assets in our own possession. We have some food, we have some water, we have some ammunition for protection, stuff like that. But it seems like now is, I mean, I've been preparing for a hell of a long time. It seems like now it's more relevant than it's ever been.
I want to look at silver and crypto, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's always okay.
And let's do it separately, because I do think that I mean, given that they control all markets, they can place the price of both of them anywhere they want. My hunch, my feeling is that silver is going to run sky high. They'll shut down that market, and then cryptos will crash with everything else for a short time.
Let's see. So we're doing silver first. And I've got the dagger here in my lap, so the connection's there. Two of Wands. Oh, all right. So we've got, all right, so this is the freaking machine, man. So we've got the Two of Wands and the Hanged Man. And then we have this event. We have this thing here. All right. This is where we're at right now. Got the fork in the road. You know, one side is sunny. The other side is, you know, this person. Oh, look, it's the road.
Yeah.
And the mountain.
May the road you choose be the right road.
May the road you choose be the right road. And then this is really, I think that this is just the state of the silver market in general. This implies where things are at. This is the Hanged Man. So much potential, so many things up in the air. And really, this is actually the card of the martyr. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all about like just for the sacrificing everything and anything for the greater good. And it's just like, oh, I'll just hang here in a balance. Don't worry about me, you know. And then there's this event. Okay, so then we've got the Wheel of Fortune and the Five of Pentacles, which does imply a very significant, almost like a jolt, but it seems to be very painful. So like I want you to note too, this person is injured, okay? And as they're attempting to heal, it's like they're followed around. So this just kind of implies to me that for whatever reasons, the powers that were, or whomever is acting on the best interest of the 300, or whomever, the ruling class, they are putting so much energy into capping it. Like they're hawking it. I mean, I know that they always have, but this is like, maybe because a lot of attentions have shifted into and even away from cryptocurrency recently. I don't know if you've gotten that vibe, but a lot of people are coming to me and they're just kind of losing faith in it. Like, some people are under the impression that there's not even going to be an internet. And I'm like, I mean, maybe for a little while, but
it would be dead. Without internet, there's no gas, there's no electricity, there's no, I've gone down that road so many times with people. I'm like, think it out. It would be Mad Max, and gold and silver are useless in Mad Max. Yeah.
So I don't ever foresee a time when internet is just non-existent. We have already crossed the threshold from, you know, tribal to global network, and we're never going to go backwards. That I truly believe that. But this attention on silver, it just feels to me like they know that people, how desperately people are waiting for this. It's like, it has the vibe of like a bruise. Do you know what I mean? Like, say you have a bruise and there's like a malicious person and they press on the bruise. That's what this feels like to me, where they just know, they're like, we know that they're all just sitting there licking their wounds, trying to ride this out with their precious metals. You know what I mean? And so they're like, let's just, you know, it's pretty nasty stuff here. But the Wheel of Fortune, again, it implies cycles. And it implies forces that are just too big. They think that they're in control. They're really not. They're really, really not. There are forces way above their pay grade here. So let me get another card for silver, especially for this summer. I'm really drawn to the summer. Let's get past the equinox. That's going to be March 21st. Good ideas, hope, and promotion. So we have the good idea card, hope, promotion. It's not necessarily about work when something levels up. So I knew, so things may actually look kind of bleak, I want to say, around like the 5th month. So I know things might be going well with silver right now and might be on the up, but it kind of
It's
implies.
not, it's flat.
Okay.
The potential is there though.
Well, the potential is always there because we know what silver is, but the 5th month looks really like they're just, you know what I mean, boop, just like that. But then something appears to change. Oh, I wanted to tell you, it's related to all of this, but I've been doing a lot of reads for like what we don't see coming. We tend to think that we know what we're really up against and that, you know, we can map things out all the way. But I was like, what do even the awakened people, the folks that know what's going on, what is coming that even we don't see? And I consistently and repeatedly get the sun. And you know, traditional meanings, it's illumination, it's warmth, it's harvest, you know, it's the life giver, this and that. But I think that this is quite literal, that this, like, the sun is doing something. And do you remember how I've talked to you at great length about physical gold and physical silver having no choice in the matter other than to vibrate in conjunction with the sun and the moon, because those are the physical manifestations, the physical expressions of solar and lunar energies on planet Earth. So when those things do weird shit, the metals on the earth do weird shit, and you know, that's so something happens astrologically that changes the properties of these metals, and the people, there's nothing they can do about it. So it really is just a matter of time. But look, these are your cards for silver come summertime. We do have the hope card, promotion, and good ideas. Okay. So hopefully that.
I would like to add that I've talked about it quite a bit, that the cataclysms have happened on planet Earth a lot. And there are times that the entire Earth is just incinerated. People get into caves, know it coming. You know, the Indians or the Native Americans call it, back when the ant people brought them into the caves because they knew there was a solar event that would incinerate the Earth. Most religions have that. Even scientists who look at what's going on in the center of the sun say, oh my God, we could have a solar flare that just literally incinerates everything on the planet. I think a lot of the gold that is on the planet comes from the sun in like CME, coronal mass ejection. It spits out all kinds of different things, gold especially. Cliff had, Cliff's dad was in the military and had talked about, along with other scientists, talked about this gigantic plume of gold that the sun spit out in the 60s into space, like millions of tons of gold. And if that is headed towards us in any way, I do think it will happen to a degree. And the question is, will we be here when that happens? These are much longer time frames that this stuff happens. And is it the luck of the draw? Is it karma? Is this why we're here in the first place? To experience something like that? And And what a way to go, just to be incinerated instantly. You're
My
back in the
goal.
soul place. It's like not that big a deal. I don't have to deal with all that shit. Although I would regret things I didn't do,
Right.
while I'm here. So that's kind of, to me, that's always ultimately the meaning of life, is to learn lessons and do things and assist people and live the best you can in this crazy environment, because you're going to return to a soul being. And I mean, I want to do as much as I can while I'm here, because it's such a special thing to be able to be incarnated into a physical body, to learn lessons that really can't be learned on a spiritual realm for
Agreed.
various reasons.
Oh my gosh. I mean, a lot of us are under the impression that we had to like audition, like we had to fight really hard to take these particular positions this time around. And I'm all about that. I'm like, hell yeah, I fought for this spot. Like lifetimes of bullshit. I'll tell you right now. Do you know what I mean?
Skewer you.
I'll skewer you.
Dagger.
No, but and I say that to a lot of people, a lot of clients, that we didn't come this far just to come this far. And I mentioned this before, but I've been studying the I Ching and the concept of cycles. We happen to be in a cycle of time, a window rather, a very small window, where things may look similar for hundreds and in some cases thousands of years. Things remain relatively unchanged. You'll in the clusters of a few hundred years, things look the same, and then they very gradually over time evolve into something different, societally, culturally, what have you. But for the most part, they kind of look the same. But then you have these very brief windows of time where we take these massive quantum leaps, and it's like everything gets flipped, and what comes after that is wildly different than anything before. And these are through the eons. This is just how it goes. So we happen to be here. We happen to be in that brief little window of time, and it's very exciting. And it's like you said, I mean, I've never regretted not taking a risk. I've never regretted taking a risk. I've only ever regretted not speaking up or not showing up or not pushing myself or listening to my intuition, and you know what, I've noticed the line for people has become so obvious. They know now when they're being true to their intuitive hits. If they're acting on the directive of their higher self, they see that they're pretty infallible. It's when they listen to the sleeper, the normie in their ear, the person that tells them to stay in stocks and bonds over here, because that's a great investment that worked for everybody else before them. I don't know how you feel about all that stuff, but to me, it just looks like a dying machine. But yeah, I mean, exciting, very exciting times. Get your canned goods.
Yes, get your canned goods. All right, let's move. I think I'll put this on the public road and share that part with the world.